Thanks for tuning into another episode of PSL on the Mic, the City of Port St. Lucie's official podcast. Today, we are here with Sergeant John Fazio and Officer Will Harris of the Port St. Lucie Police Department. Welcome to our studio.
Hi, Maureen. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And we're also here with K9 Bodhi, who is probably sitting down on the ground next to Officer Harris. We'll get to see him soon. So we're here today to obviously talk about the K9 unit at the department and how it supports the rest of the department and helps to keep Port St. Lucie the safest large city in Florida. So thanks for joining us. Before we get started, I want you to just give us a little recap of your backgrounds, how long you've been with the department, in the unit, just for some folks who might not know.
Sure. So I joined the police department back in 2005. With the agency since and moved through a lot of different specialized units. I was a canine handler back in 2013. I became one, and I worked patrol canine until 2018. From there, I went back to patrol for a little while, got promoted, and then I came back as the canine unit supervisor. And here I am supervising the unit that I was once a part of. So
awesome. That must feel really good.
It'll be 19 years this October in the police department.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Officer Harris.
I've been with Port St. Lucie for 21 years, and I've been in K9 for 19 of those years. And
which is kind of crazy. Excuse me for interrupting. You've been here longer than Sergeant Fazio.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I just never wanted to come out of the K9 unit.
Good. So. Awesome. Continue. Sorry about interrupting.
No, that's it. Bodhi is my fourth dog.
Oh, wow.
Third patrol dog, fourth K9.
Okay, awesome. So what is the primary function of the K9 unit, and why is it so important to help with keep the city safe?
So the K9 unit is a support service for pretty much the police department and the patrol division. So primarily the K9 handlers, they patrol just like a police officer would, and it's assigned to a zone in a district. They have marked patrol cars with lights and sirens on them with their partners. But their particular function is to support those patrol officers in specialized incidents such as criminal apprehension. Let's say somebody commits a crime and they take off on foot and they're running. We would set up a perimeter and call a patrol dog to come track that individual. 4 out of the 5 of our canines are certified in narcotics detection. So if on traffic stops or search warrants, things like that, we can call those dual certified patrol dogs that are certified in narcotics detection to come in and locate narcotics or drugs that would be difficult for a human to find. Will here specializes in explosives ordnance detection, so his dog is a bomb dog. So in the event of precursor sweeps such as large events, city events, he supports a lot of the events that take place at the Mid-Florida Event Center.
Like, for instance, like Freedom Fest, that's coming up in a couple weeks. So
he'll be there with Bodhi before everybody shows up nice and early, and he'll sweep the entire area, make sure that nobody's planted any devices or, anyone that should ever, God forbid, try to create a terroristic attack. We rely on Bodhi here to, locate those devices if something should be planted. And then also with the Met Stadium and things like that. Or if there were a call, somebody made a bomb threat, Will and Bodhi would show up and they can do sweeps of the area and see if they would locate something. And if they did, we would call in the bomb team from the sheriff's office. So there's a lot that our dogs do. And there's much more as far as they can locate evidence. We teach these dogs how to locate human odor that's left behind on items such as your coffee cup here. If you were touching it and discarded it somewhere, your odor is still on that cup. We can send them out into a field or, a wood line or something like that and locate evidence. Prevent escape a lot of times on search warrants and things like that. When we surround a house, we would put a dog in the backyard or in the front yard, so if somebody did decide to flee, the dog is immediately accessible to, apprehend that criminal. So the K9 division supports patrol, much more than what people see or what they think. And for a city that's as large as we are and as large as we're growing, currently right now there's only 5 dog teams that support the entire city. And, we break that up as best we can on shifts. Will works day shift and our other 4 work the evening into midnight hours. And we split the week in half. So they do an awesome job at supporting patrol services.
And it sounds like the K9s are doing things that human officers maybe can't do as well. Obviously, they have that nose, that first smell. And I'm glad you explained that, because I when I was a kid, I never really understood, have the dog sniff a baby blanket or something if there was an abduction on a movie I was watching, and then have the dog smell it, and that's how they would see if the baby was somewhere. Like, it blew my mind. So thanks for explaining that.
Sure.
I didn't really understand that. So what makes a good handler?
So,
I mean, everybody's probably not cut out for this.
No, and contrary to what most people think, just because a dog is a German Shepherd or a Belgian Malinois, not every dog is suited for it. So we're as picky and as strict on our criteria for what we look for in a handler as what we look for in a dog. We need motivated officers that are willing to, make this a lifestyle change. But obviously, taking your gun belt and your handcuffs and bringing them home, they go in a safe until the weekend's over. You can't do the same thing with the dog. So we definitely need people whose family lives are suited to bringing home their partner and taking care of the partner. We also look for, men and women that are committed to physical fitness. It's a very arduous job. We sometimes don't know if we're going to be out there working for 15, 20 minutes on a call, or we might be out there for 4 or 5 hours in a search, and it takes, a person who's committed to their physical health to be able to do that. We look for officers that have, experience. It's very rare that you'll find somebody that has, that's a brand new officer that finds their way into the K9 unit. We do look for officers that have proven themselves on the street, that have a good reputation, with their peers and supervisors, and also a good reputation with the community. And we look for officers, not that we don't look for officers all around that are level-headed, but it takes an especially level-headed, calm person to be able to work in a stressful situation and have that ability for interspecies communication with the dog. The dogs do feed off of the energy of their handlers, so we do need handlers that have a calmness and a confidence about them. So it's definitely not a job for everybody, and it's definitely a job that takes quite a bit extra than just coming to work every day. And that's not to knock anybody that does. We're very proud of them too. It's a little bit of a different job. They say as far as specialization, for the amount of schooling that goes into just getting a dog team on the street, it's second only to aviation as far as the schooling. So the handlers will go through a 600-hour school. That 600 hours only gets them ready to pass their first certification, and then after certification, they have to repeat that certification or some iteration of it twice a year for the duration of the career of the dog and handler. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. They have to train daily. There's really no such thing as an off day in K9. So that's, we want to make sure that they understand that. And due to that, we've actually started a whole new program for officers that are interested in becoming canine handlers to first become a canine assistant. Let's get into that, because that's actually one of my questions, because we met back in April.
Excuse me.
We're producing a new video, and we have a bunch of interviews. We're going to do another story, and now we have the podcast. We didn't really get into a lot of that training. That's why I kind of wanted you guys to come on. So talk about this, the canine handler,
Yep, canine assistant.
Assistant, yep. Talk about that.
So like we're saying, the worst thing you want to be surprised with is, you become a canine officer and then you realize, I have to be able to run 3 miles in the heat, or I have to swim through a canal, or even worse, I have to be up with this dog at 2 o'clock in the morning on my day off because he's sick. There's a lot that goes into it, and we realize that one of the most important things we can do is give exposure to officers that this is potentially a career path for them, to give them that exposure to be around us more, to take up a larger role within the K9 unit. The other side of that, it's serves us as well, as we know that we can train our own backups to go into the field with us. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody to run around in the middle of the night without a flashlight or crawl on their face in the woods through the mud and stuff. So this gives them an opportunity to come and really see what the job's like, really see what the care and maintenance and training and deployment with the K9 teams is really about, so that they can make an educated decision, and we can make an educated decision on them and their performance when that time does come for them. Now,
You said earlier you didn't know if you were going to be out there for 15 minutes or 4 hours. Say you are out there for 4 hours, you and Bodhi. Would Bodhi be there the entire time, or do they get tired? Or would you have to call in another team?
So it depends on resource. I'm not going to lie to you and say we don't get stubborn and we want to finish what we started. So a lot of times it does take a lot of self-restraint to we are a good team, as a unit. But sometimes it does take a lot of self-restraint to work almost to the end and then hand it off to somebody else. But we do that because we have encountered situations in the past where the dogs have had heat exhaustion. Handlers, I've gone down from heat exhaustion before. So we do sometimes hand that off depending on the difficulty of it, but there are times where there aren't resources immediately available.
Okay.
We do rely heavily, because we are a small unit, we do rely heavily on the surrounding agencies' units as well, and we do work in tandem with them at times. But yes, depending on the deployment, we would switch out if we had the resource available.
Okay.
But sometimes, I know the longest deployment I've ever had was 5 hours, 45 minutes on the ground to a catch.
Wow.
And fortunately, it was nighttime, not middle of the day.
Or summer, Florida, August or something. So are you next to Bodhi pretty much the entire time, or you let him go and search and you don't run with him? I'm just trying to maybe think about the scenario.
So we are with the dog the entire deployment. Normally, a normal deployment is with a tracking leash affixed to a harness.
Okay.
That leash gives us about 30 foot of range that we could work with that dog. Depending on the environment, in a building search environment or a confined area where there's not the risk of an innocent person coming through, even though the dogs are very well trained and we are able to train them through scent what their target is, it's just not worth the liability or the risk of potential harm. So yes, most of the times in a street level deployment, the dogs are on leash, unless it's in a building or an enclosed area. The only other time that they would be off leash is if they were sent to apprehend a suspect that was not willing to surrender.
Running or something like that. Okay.
Then the dog would be cut loose.
Okay, that was kind of where I was getting at. I didn't know if Officer Harris runs alongside him when you're trying to capture someone who's trying to escape. Even
if someone was trying to escape and not heeding our warnings, we do give them the opportunity to surrender, obviously. If even in that case, the dog is going to close that distance a lot quicker than I could, but I would be right behind him. The K9 officer would be right behind them.
Okay, awesome. What's the biggest challenge of having a four-legged partner? Are there challenges?
Oh, yeah. There's a...
as opposed to just, a human partner.
The biggest challenge overall is they don't speak. They don't talk. They can't tell you what they're feeling, they're doing, and at the same time, you're relying on, like Will said, interspecies communication, and it's through act, it's through, disposition and, the confidence you have, and it's just an art form. It takes a lot of skill building and a lot of patience, as he said, and, it's not like I can say, hey, Maureen, hand me that cup right there. And you can hand it to me. It's like, okay, Bodhi, I need you to move that. You can't do it without, teaching the dog. And, Will can expand upon that.
Yeah, the easy way to say it is we are the complication. A dog is a dog is a dog.
Yeah.
We have to have that ability to flip this over my head real quick. We have to have that ability to understand, what's going through the dog's mind the best that we can, and provide an environment for the dog that is conducive to relationship, that's conducive to training, and that's all the time. And that's the difficult part. That's something that my biggest goal as a trainer in the K9 unit, is to translate that to all the handlers, that there is no off time.
Yeah.
The rules don't change for a dog. A dog conditions to behavior. So if you bring the dog to work and he just drives around in a car, and you take him home and he just lays on the floor, that's what that dog's going to do. So every day the challenge is to challenge the dog and to keep that dog conditioned similar to how you'd condition the mind and body of an athlete. We have to treat those dogs the same way. Every day they have to be engaged. They have to be, within their prescribed set of rules. And a lot of times when you explain that to prospective handlers, you explain that to people, they think it sounds miserable. Like, oh, does the dog get to be a dog? I can guarantee you I have a happier, more well-adjusted dog than most dogs that you see in the public with people that don't understand those rules. His life is consistent. My leadership is consistent. He's safe, calm, confident, and happy because of it. So that's the challenge, is bringing handlers up to speed to where they understand that this isn't something that you don't just put him away and leave him to his own devices and expect him to work for you during the week. And it's retuning that human mind the best interest of the dog, and as a result of it, it can be a great change. My dogs, Bodhi is all I have left. My most recently retired dog passed away a couple years ago, but my dogs come on vacation with me. They go everywhere with me. They're very rarely not with me. And that's just the adaptation that my family has made, and I feel because of it, we're a better team than we would be if we hadn't done it that way.
Yeah, talk about living with your partner. I think we went over this in April, but
he's
I think
always there.
Just like he is right now. He's such a sweetheart. So you're off shift today. You go home. But what do you do? What's a typical nighttime after you get off for the day?
So when we get tonight, we'll get off late. So I think 1 o'clock in the morning is the end of our shift today.
Geez, okay.
But even then, we get home. I take my gear off. I take his gear off. We usually will go for a walk to let him wind down at the end of the night. Then I water him, and we go to sleep.
Yeah.
And a regular day off, he is typically with me. I have a business that I run on the side, and that's the only day. So there's about a half a day a week that he's actually at home without me. The rest of the time, if I have to run an errand, he's with me. If I go pick up my kids, he's with me. We go on vacation, he's with me.
Yeah.
And that's the way I like it. And and I feel that he's better in my charge, and with me in that relationship, because this is a very unique relationship.
Yeah.
As much as he is a family dog and the family loves him, he is 100% my responsibility.
Yep.
And that relationship and that bond has to stay strong. So there's very few places that I wouldn't take him with me.
So like when you're no longer have your own canine, but like when you guys would go on vacation and you said you bring your dog. So I have a dog too. I have to say, hey, my dog weighs, whatever pounds. Are they allowed in this hotel or this Airbnb? Like, do you have to do that as well? Hey, I'm a canine officer. My dog is going to be with me.
I very rarely out him as a cop.
Oh,
Usually.
Interesting. Okay.
Usually you just roll with it and keep. You try to find hotels that are pet friendly.
Sure.
And, you pay the fee. We try not to embellish upon the fact that they're service animals, and we wouldn't say, well, he's a police dog. He's allowed to come in here. We're very respectful.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we call
because he's a bit bigger than my dog.
It can help sometime. I remember when I was in K9, I had to drive to New Jersey once, and I broke down to North Carolina, and I pull into a dealership, and they saw the police emblem on his collar. And literally, they wiped everybody out. Fix his truck right now. Get him in. They turned wrenches, and they got me right out the door. And I was so embarrassed. I'm like, I didn't mean to skip anybody.
I didn't mean to say that.
But,
I forgot to take his leash off or his collar off.
Yeah.
There's so many places now, though. I just pay the pet fee for Airbnb. And,
we would never embellish
with
upon
us.
their service. Just like, even if you ask a cop, usually off duty, except for some, but what do you do? Oh, I'm a mailman. We try to stay low key and out of the spotlight.
Yeah,
so we do
calm,
the same
like your demeanor you're supposed to be. So, now I've been at a bunch of events where you guys have been. These demonstrations, they're awesome. They're so great. Everyone loves the canines, especially kids. So, how does it feel when you see those kids like light up and you explain your very important jobs to them as if being a police officer isn't already super important, but now you're a canine officer. So that's kind of like, it's a little bit of cool for the young kids. How does that make you guys feel? Because the kids just love the dogs.
Well,
and you guys too, but it's the dogs.
Everybody remembers the dog's name.
Yeah.
We are very fortunate here in the city of Port St. Lucie that we do have a very supportive community. It's always refreshing to be able to do community outreach, to be out there as the good guys, to be a positive mentor or inspiration to the kids. It's also good for us, to kind of clear up some of the maybe, what's the word I'm looking for? Misinformation about what a police dog is.
Yeah.
That I think I try to think back to when I was a kid, you know what I mean? And I think that it's a big surprise to the kids that the dogs are approachable. They can pet them. That these dogs come home with our families, that my kids were raised around police dogs. And to show that these just aren't, what they can often be painted as.
Sure.
They're not unhinged, crazy animals that are out there to hurt people. They have such a much more valuable tool than their teeth. Their ability to protect and save lives is incredible, and to be able to share that with the kids and to not have kids afraid of us.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times we're out in the public and maybe we're sitting down to get something to eat, and there's a crying kid, and a parent goes, "You better be careful. He's going to take you to jail." And that's not the reputation we want with children. We want children to know that they can come to us, that they're safe with us, that, I take every opportunity I can to take my dog out of a car, to let it, even not at a demonstration, to let a child pet him and stuff like that. So that's one of the best parts of the job, is that outreach to the community.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, and it's changing. It's almost as much gratification as making an apprehension and taking someone to jail. It's actually almost more. You see how the public, really comes out, and like Will said, everybody loves K9. They see the SWAT demonstrations and the fire trucks and all that, but when you take the dog out, they all gravitate and they want to take pictures with the dog. And these guys hand out, their baseball cards and their little toy squeeze balls and things like that. And it's great. It's such a great feeling. And if you were at Safety Fest, you saw, the amount of enthusiasm that even we get out of, just displaying our product to the crowd and what we can do and the craftsmanship that these guys have in training these dogs, where they can fly through windows and, make bite apprehensions, and they're desensitized to gunfire and things like that. So
and then be pet by a small child.
And then as soon as they're done, they decompress in a matter of minutes, and they can go right back to being, sociable and civilized, and put a smile on kids' faces. So it's great. It's a great feeling.
What's the best part about being a K9 officer?
The dog. Obviously, the
100%.
dog. No matter how bad the day is, or how arduous the call is, at the end of the day, I go home with my best friend. So
when you're a street cop and you ride around and you get back in your car and you drive off to the next call, it's lonely, and you have the radio and you can pick up the phone and call somebody. But when you're a canine handler and you can pop that cage open and a dog's head sticks right here, and you rest it on your shoulder and you're petting them and you say, "Good job, buddy. We did a good job. Let's go do it again." That's a totally different feeling. It's a different element of law enforcement that you would not get in any other unit. So it truly is rewarding. It's gratifying. It's selfless. These guys put a lot of time and energy in, especially on their off time, to making sure that they're up to standard and above standard, and they perform at their best at every single deployment they do. So, it's hard. It's tough. It's rigorous. There's a lot of aches, a lot of pains. I haven't been doing it since 2018, and my knees and my hips still hurt. One of our former handlers, Sergeant Duncombe, that guy went through more injuries and surgeries than you could imagine just from being a dog handler over the course of 3 patrol dogs. And it's a lot. It takes a lot out of your body. It takes a lot, mentally, to sustain that for so many years, especially like Will doing it for 21 years.
Yeah.
Or 19 years. It really pushes you to stay young, stay healthy, stay fit. And you have to catalog those memories of the things that you've done and the things that you've seen. And, unfortunately, we kind of compartmentalize them sometimes. So it becomes a family, too. You get into the K9 unit, and when you compartmentalize so much, you have to empty your trash bin every once in a while. So you rely on those that have done the job and know the craft. And, we get together on our off time and we socialize and, have a beer or two, or, a cigar or something, and we talk about it and decompress ourselves. And, when we're done, we go right back to putting the dog in the truck, going 10-8 on the radio, and going to the next call.
Yeah, the dog is definitely the best part,
closely
followed by the hunt itself. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like, showing up in the middle of the calamity and mayhem, and the one missing piece, the only ones that can go out and find it are, us as a team, the dog and the handler. And that's incredible. That's something that I don't think ever gets old.
Yeah.
It's worth the bumps and bruises.
I think you probably already answered my next question, but what makes our unit so special? You kind of hit it on the head already, but, we have 5 K9 officers, which, again, for a city of 250,000, that's not that much. So many. So you guys must be super tight. Close, but what makes our unit just like out of this world special?
So there's a saying with dogs when it comes to dog training, motivation induces willingness. If you have something to motivate the dog, you'll get the willingness to do this, to do the task that you're asking of the dog. And we are, in the same ilk. We're a motivated crew. There are only 5 of us.
Yeah.
The workload falls on us to do it, and we have a very motivated group of professional handlers right now that are Doesn't matter what's going on. We could be sitting down eating. We could be at home with the family. We could be, I mean, I've even had it on my way home from a trip, rush off the highway in shorts and a T-shirt with a dog and a bulletproof vest to go catch a bad guy. So we have a
Wow.
very motivated crew. They're willing to put the time and willing to put the work in. I don't think I've ever heard anybody complain about, we work a 10-hour shift, and very rarely are we out of there in 10 hours on a training day.
Yeah.
And I've never, not to any of my memory, can remember a time where guys weren't, were trying to rush off the field before the job was done. They put the time in to train, they put the hours, and they make the sacrifices to do it. And honestly, I mean, I'm partial, but I think we're the best because of it.
Yeah, very passionate, a very passionate group of guys, and I push them hard. I push them hard in their training. Their expectations, I don't even have to set very high because they'll exceed them every time.
Sure,
and,
yeah.
I think with that passion and dedication, it just exudes excellence.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for everything you do. I know our audience, listeners, watchers on YouTube, they're thinking the same thing. So thank you for taking time today to
It's our
even
pleasure.
stop by and talk about your amazing unit. And I know Sergeant Fazio was a little apprehensive about how we end our podcast.
The
but
favorites,
It'll be
list.
fun,
Yeah.
especially with some police officers. And I would love Bodhi's input if he has a favorite singer or band that you maybe think he has.
Fair, Bode.
I think you like Celine Dion.
Celine Dion.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He's
This guy's
Metallica.
a 90s grunge dog.
Oh, lovely. I love that. So I'm going to shoot some questions out,
Sure.
and you guys
Let's do it.
answer the ones you want, pass on the ones that you don't want to answer. This should be easy, though, for both of you, I'm sure. Favorite food?
For me, right now, because I go through phases,
Okay.
it's Jamaican food. I love jerk chicken. Yep, and that's my favorite right
Okay.
I'd have to say tacos, followed by chicken wings. Those are my two.
Okay.
My two top.
Do you have I don't want to name it, but do you have a preferable restaurant that you like too?
No,
Oh, okay. Any chicken wing. All
any
right.
kind of tacos, any fish tacos, steak tacos, chicken, anything. I just love tacos.
Okay.
Followed with a good margarita.
Sounds good to me. Favorite movie?
now. Point Break. That's where Bodhi's name came from.
The original. I think they
The
remade
original.
it. Thank you.
The
Thank you
original.
very
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
You're
There's
allowed
only
to
one.
stay.
There's only one Point Break.
How about
That's
you?
a tough one. I don't know. I'd have to catalog back into. I love Tombstone, Top Gun, Blues Brothers, Smokey and the Bandit.
Good
some
choices.
good old
Oh, Blues Brothers, man.
Yeah.
Blues Brothers.
that's a great
Probably
one.
one of my top three.
All right.
I should have named him Elwood.
Elwood.
Oh, that would have been great.
Go catch some Illinois Nazis.
I hate Illinois Nazis.
How about your favorite hobbies outside of policing?
I love music. I love music, playing guitar and drums and bass and all that stuff.
Awesome.
Being a dad, I love my kids. My kids are my world.
That's
so,
a great hobby.
Yeah.
Singer band. Favorite singer and band?
Always the Beatles.
Oh, great.
I
Uh-oh.
have to say some Tom Petty, maybe some Billy Joel. I started playing piano when I was a kid because of Billy Joel. So those are probably my top two.
He was my very first concert, Billy
Yeah.
Joel, Yankee Stadium. It was
I
great.
saw him
Oh, wow.
at Giant Stadium
Yep.
in like 92.
I think mine was 90. 90.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite book?
So the Bible is the first
I would
for
agree
me.
with
Yeah, so
Okay. Favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving all the way.
I was born on Halloween. I'm a Halloween baby.
I love Halloween.
So I'm a little impartial to
okay.
Halloween.
Okay.
But I also love Christmas. I love
Yeah.
giving. The spirit of giving is just, the best. So.
Can't top it.
But I was born on Halloween.
Okay.
I have a dark soul. So.
Then maybe we'll get to your favorite color. Let's do that right now. Favorite color?
Black.
Black.
Okay, there we go. That was easy. Favorite place to visit?
I like going a lot of places. I love, as of late, I love Siesta Key on the West Coast.
Beautiful.
I love it out there. And then I'd say probably close second is Georgia or any place in the mountains.
Okay.
I'm a South Florida boy. I've been here my whole life, and proverbially, I would have to say the ocean, anywhere the ocean is.
Anywhere where there's a
Yeah,
blue
so
ocean.
I love just taking the boat out and being out in the salt water and bringing the kids out, and so anywhere the ocean is.
Awesome. Favorite ice cream flavor?
I don't eat ice cream.
I can't eat ice cream. If I could, it would be chocolate. But
Okay. All right. Favorite TV show? Last question.
How far are we going back? I love it.
Whatever you want.
My favorite TV show ever as a kid was The A-Team.
brothers too.
I lived for the
Can't,
18.
can't beat
Mine was
Mr.
probably
T.
chips, so much so that I actually became a motor cop in my career.
there you
And
go.
before I was a canine handler, I was a motor officer for about 7 years. So I'd say probably chips. And then, well, yeah, we'll just,
Did you prefer Ponch or John?
it didn't matter.
I was a John. I liked John
Yeah.
when I was growing up. Yeah, everybody liked Ponch. That's why I probably liked John. Well, that was fun. Thank you so much.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much for having us.
Of
We'll always
course.
come back and do a second part if you need us to. And,
All right, that sounds
we,
good.
We appreciate you guys, spotlighting our canine partners because they do so much for the city and they work
Yeah.
so hard. So we appreciate it.
Well, we thank you so much for coming in. And Bodhi, thanks for dropping by, man. You're doing a good job.
Here, buddy.
We're going to have Bodhi come on camera
Come here.
if he can come over here.
There you go. That's a good boy.
So everybody, if you're listening to the podcast, I also suggest that you go to our YouTube channel and watch the podcast because there's a cutie over here, and I'm not talking about the police officers. Well, they're cute too, but yeah. Bodhi, thanks so much for coming in.
Says you're welcome. Thanks, guys.
Sergeant Fazio, Officer Harris, thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll hear from you guys soon again.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Maureen.
Thank you.
Thanks.